Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Real Talk with Ben podcast. And I'm super excited that you decided to join me today. It's been a great day here in Hungary, and whether you're listening during the day or at night or whenever, it's been really cool just to see the support that this podcast has gotten, and I'm super excited that you decided to tune in. So thank you so much. And if you're new, my name is Ben, and I'm also excited that you've come along because I always love new people that listen because it gives me more people to reach out to. So I am super excited. I can't wait to discuss things in this episode. Now, if you listened last week, you might be asking, Ben, you said that your friend Daniel would be on, and you are correct. He will be. Actually, he's going to be on next week's episodes. Yes, both episodes next week will be Daniel just sharing about what's going on here. What's going on in his life, as well as just what he would like to see happen in the future and what he's dreaming about and asking God for guidance on. So super excited to talk with him and just to have a great conversation over the next two episodes. And the main reason is because we're busy. So we have different things going on, but speaking of being busy, it's been going great here. We've been clearing out a lot of different places. We've got more stuff done, which is awesome. I did mess up my shoulder, so I can't really move my left shoulder too much. But so that was fun. But other than that, it's been going great. Just fun fellowshipping with each other, and also just enjoying God's creation, which is also amazing. So with all those pleasantries out of the way, decided to talk about something that's related to last episode. If you remember last episode, I discussed about class of 2020 and kind of my feelings on that. And I thought, and this one, I guess, is more aimed towards college graduates, but I thought I would talk about 5 things that I've learned since graduating last year. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is actually kind of interesting because I think I actually had talked to somebody as I was graduating about what they've learned, in their first year or 2 years out. And they were telling me just all these different things that I didn't know if I actually understood what they meant by, but as you can tell, I kind of understood. So after a while, but I'm super excited just to share some of these tidbits with you all. Even if you're not a college student, I think, or a college graduate, I think it still applies to all of us because they're something that I realized applies to my life beyond just this year or next year. It applies to the rest of my life. And so I'm going to get started. Why not? So number one is, one of the things I learned was that time goes fast. And I don't just mean like college time goes fast, because we all know that goes fast. And I guess I didn't expect it to go as fast as it did, but it still goes fast. What I really meant by that is that time, even outside of school, goes fast. It just feels, like I said, it just feels like yesterday I was walking across that stage, and now I'm a year into the rest of my life. And I think it's very easy. Sorry, I bumped the mic. It's very easy for, I think, any of us to go with life and kind of forget just how quick it goes. And I think I realized this when I was working at Cedarville this past summer. And, we had started the year. We had like orientation week, which is actually pretty much a year ago now. And it was really cool. We got to meet everyone, got to see kind of like what we'd be doing and all that. And it was crazy because before I knew it, it was July, and I finished early because of going to Hungary, for 2 weeks. And it was just like, it went really fast. It was like the snap of the finger. And that was when I first realized, like, oh, this advice that people have been telling me, how life kind of goes faster, truly did really affect me. And I think it's interesting because, as much as I think college life went fast and things during college went fast, and, your 1,000 days ago really fast, I don't feel like any of my years went as fast as this past year. I think I knew that it would possibly be there. Like I knew that the feeling of like, okay, this is going to be, it's going to be a while, it's going to be quick, but it's, I felt like there might be some time, but nope. It was like, before I knew it, I was finishing my degree in December and now I'm in Hungary, and it just feels like everything went super fast. But yeah, so that's number one. As time goes fast, and I don't think it waits for us very often. And I think going along with that, and because time goes fast, and because I don't think we always accept the fact that time goes fast. I know, at least for me, I don't always accept the fact that time's going to go faster than what I wanted. But at the same time, I think it's been really cool just to, I think, enjoy the time, even though it does go fast. And I think what I mean by this is that, man, that was a terrible sentence, Ben. What I meant by what I said, there we go, is that don't waste your time. If there's one big lesson, this is, number two is like, don't waste your time when it comes to just life itself. I think it's very easy. And I think I found myself doing this probably more post December, as I was getting ready for coming over here, was finding myself like some days where like I wouldn't do anything. And I'm not saying that like not doing anything and relaxing is wrong, but like for me, it was like I had energy to do things and I had the opportunity to do things, but I would just say like, nah, I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to relax. And I look back at even the time during my college years where I wasted my time so much that when it came to my senior year, I was looking back going, man, I could have done this. I could have done this. I could have been involved in this. And it gets really hard in your own head because you're going, I wasted my time. And so I think it's honoring to God that we use our time wisely and that we don't waste our time. But I also think it's important that we take time to, I always joke how right now in Hungary, Saturdays are my day. I joke with people all the time. Like, it's not that I don't like anybody. It's just like you're working so much and you're busy so much that it's nice to have a day where you can just relax. And I'm not saying that, you can't do that, but I think at the same time, you can't make every day your day. You can't make every day the day where you relax and do nothing. And so that's kind of what I've learned is that through the time of life, and I know I'm only a year out of college, but through the time of life, I'm realizing that like I need to make sure every year counts, every day counts, because we don't know when our last day is here. And why would I waste my time if, I could be doing something better with my life, or I could be, sharing the gospel or just hanging out with friends that I might not see in a while. And I'm saying this and I'm preaching to myself as well. Like, it's easy to waste our time because there's something fun to do. I even kind of find myself sometimes asking like, why are we doing all this work outside? But then I also ask the question, what would I be doing if I wasn't? I'd probably be sitting like maybe watching a Netflix movie, or maybe, just slowly working on things, but not really having a pace to do things. But like doing this is something that's productive. It's using my time wisely. And so that's number two, is I think just not wasting your time when it comes to those kind of things. And I think number three is kind of weird because I guess it kind of falls in two categories, but it's try new things while you can, is what I put in quotes. Because I feel like when I was in college, and it's going to sound terrible, but when I was in college, I feel like I didn't try new things because I wanted to impress people, or like I was so worried about what people thought, whether that was doing something with people that I've never done before. And I was kind of worried that I mess up or whatever, or even just trying new food. Like, I feel like now that I'm in Hungary, I've opened up so much more to trying new things and trying new things in life. I'm very much of a pattern type of person. Very much of I like to do things, and when things get changed, I get frustrated, type thing. And so that, I think that's kind of like, it goes back to the idea I talked about a few weeks ago of like comfort, and realizing that my comfort's not just what I want it to be. It's what God sees that I need to be, what my comfort needs to be in him. And so it's kind of funny that I think about that, and like trying new things for me is not just trying new food or trying new clothes, or new style. Like it's like trying a new lifestyle and trying to focus better on Christ. And that's like a big tip that I think I can give to recent college graduates is like, while you can, like while God has given you the opportunity, try those things, try those new things. I know for me, being single, like I am, like being single, I don't have to worry about a family. I don't have to worry about kids or anything. Like God's given me this time to do more things than I probably would be able to do if I was in a relationship or if I was, married or whatever. And I think I used to see that as a negative, but now I see that as like, this is an opportunity for me to not only grow spiritually, but then to try new things in my life, to experience new experiences and to travel more and to do things that maybe I've always wanted to do. But I didn't really get the chance to do. So that's kind of why I think that falls into kind of a couple different categories, just because like, it's not just trying new things itself, but it's like trying a new lifestyle, maybe changing up your lifestyle in the sense of maybe, you need to be better at certain things or whatever in that case. And that will kind of move into number 4. And these last 2, I feel like are the biggest. So I'm kind of like, I guess, trying to focus more on these 2. And I think number 4 is one that hits close to home for me, and that's spend time with your family, spend more time with your family, however it might be. Whether it's your brother or your sister or, your cousins or your friends or family or whatever. And I guess friends could fall in this as well. Spending time with family. As a lot of my story about, when my grandpa passed away and during my junior year of college. And from that moment, I realized how much family meant to me and how much I needed to focus time spending with family. I miss being able to go over to my grandma's house and just sitting and talking and popping in and saying hi, or seeing my aunts and uncles at church, or seeing my cousins around town or whatever it might be. And I think I've realized that more now that I've moved overseas, that those moments are so valuable. When my grandpa passed away, there were so many regrets I had, because I remember growing up, my mom and dad would encourage us to go hang out with them. And I would just always be like, oh, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll see him, 2 or 3 days from now, or I'll see him at church. But then you slowly realize and you slowly start to understand that time goes fast. Like I said, the first thing. And that means time with family goes fast. Before I knew it, I was in high school, and before I knew it, I was in college, and I wasn't going to be able to see them as much. And not spending time with my grandpa is still one of the biggest regrets in my life, because as much as I love that man, and as much as that man was a second father to me and gave me so much wisdom and encouragement and supported me in so many ways, I still felt like there was so much more I wanted to know about him. There was so much more that I just wanted to ask him about. I always ask the question, what would he have said about me coming to Hungary? What would I have been able to ask him? And when I call back home to see his face, to hear his voice, I still hold on to pictures and to videos of seeing him, because it reminds me of how great family is. And I know we all have different circumstances, but family truly is great. And friends are family. And I think the same thing for friends. I'm realizing very, very slowly now that, friends are just as important as family. And I spent time on the phone yesterday or 2 days ago with a friend, and we spent an hour talking. And those are the moments you can always hold on to. And I even think about, for me, family is when my cousin Colleen also passed away. And so I say these things because it's very easy, especially as I've graduated and at the end of my career, and then as I've graduated, it can be very easy to move on with life and to just go with life and want to be the best at your degree. You want to be the best at your job. You want to, keep climbing the ladder. You want to start a family, but don't forget the family that brought you here. Don't forget the family that helped you grow, the friends that helped you grow. And that's something that I think my grandpa would have told me too, is don't forget where you come from. And don't forget not only what God has done for you, but what your family's done for you. So if you're a recent college graduate, or you've been out for a year or 2 years, or even if you're still in college, don't waste the opportunities to spend time with family. Because I don't want you to be in the position I was in, where you start asking the questions and you start getting frustrated and you start getting angry at yourself because you didn't take those extra few moments at your grandparents' house, or your few extra moments with your cousins because you want to go home and play video games, or you wanted to go home and watch that TV show or hang out with your friends. Like I said, friends are important, but you never know when the last day on earth is for any of us. For me, I had no idea. I knew my grandpa was ill. I had no idea it was going to be that quick. Same with my cousin. And so to this day, there's part of me that's frustrated that I didn't spend that extra time with my family. And so I challenge you, and I challenge all of us, no matter what age you are, whether you're 80 years old, or you're 5 years old, you're 16, 20 years old. We all have that opportunity to spend time with family. We can either use that or we can waste it. Personally, I'm trying not to waste many of those moments I got left, because I see how valuable those times are. And so I think that's probably number two. I mean, heck, I could probably go number one. But number one will be for myself. I guess not number one. It's number 5 technically. The last one was 4, but number 5 is, and I think it's the most important, is keep your focus on Christ. I probably could have numbered those downward, but oh well. Keep your focus on Christ. I know it's self-explanatory, and probably for many of us, it's something that, it's like, oh, that's duh. But I think for me, especially after I graduated in this past year, that's something I've really learned, is that there's so much more time that I could be focused on Christ that I haven't been. There's so much more time that I could be focused on, diving into His Word that I wasn't. And I think it's one of those things too, where I think the harder thing is having that self-motivation, having that self-discipline. And I think that's what's taken me a while. And I think even here while I've been in Hungary, I think that's helped, is that like I have people that have challenged me, and like they'll randomly ask me while we're working outside, or while I see them, in the castle or even outside. They ask me those questions like, hey, what are you reading? What are you doing for your Devo? And yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I think it's something that I think we all need to get better at. And I think no matter where you're at in your spiritual walk, I think we all need to grow in that area. But it's something I think is so important for recent graduates, for soon to be graduates, for, because I think during this time that you're entering, you're kind of starting this weird spot where you could maybe you're living where maybe you've been living in the same city your whole life, kind of like how I did. And maybe you are going to be working there. You're going to be living in the same city, and there's not much change in your life. Or maybe you're, maybe like me, where I spent a year where I was just kind of, in the same place, and I was starting work and I was finishing school, and then I moved overseas. Or maybe you moved to another city or another state, and there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of like, okay, I have a lot more leniency. I have a lot more stretch and flexibility, but are you willing to take those rubber bands and tighten them around you and say, I'm going to stand firm in what I was taught in college, or maybe what I believe, because it's very easy to get rid of that and to just go, freedom, But I think instead of that concept, we need to look at it as, what is going to help me stay focused on Christ? I don't ever think loosening up your discipline is probably going to ever keep you focused on Christ. Maybe I'm wrong, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the long term that when you focus on Christ, and when you say, Christ, I want you to be the center no matter where I live. I've said that no matter if I live here in Hungary for the next 30 years of my life, no matter if I live in Ohio for the next 30 years of my life or some other state or some other country, I can't forget where I've come from. And that goes back to family, but how God has got me here. And I think the best way we do that is by focusing on him and continually growing in the idea of our identity in Christ. And it's a tough thing sometimes, I think, for not just recent graduates, but I think any of us. And I think for me, like even being a missionary, I struggle with this daily. I mean, it's not something that I just easily go through and go, oh yeah, I'm doing great with Christ. Like, no, there are days that suck because I've screwed up or I know I haven't done enough. But yeah. And so, I share these things and I share these top 5 things, and I don't even think they're top 5. They're just 5 things. I think I share these things because I hope that maybe that will give you a better eye into the first year you're out in the real world. If you're a college student or if you're just an adult, maybe the next year of your life, focusing on, those 5 ideas of just being, I think, getting better in your own life. And I think remembering that time does go fast. We can't waste it. And that goes to number 2, don't waste your time. Number 3, try those new things, try those new lifestyles, try those new ideas that you're always wanting to try. And now you get that opportunity. Spend time with family. Remember where you've come from. Remember the impact they've had on your life. And that includes spending time with friends. Enjoy those moments because you never know when your last day is here. And why would you want to waste it? And the last one, and the most important one, is remember to keep your focus on Christ. No matter where God has put you in this world, remember that is your mission field. Whether you're in the cornfields of Ohio, in the mountains of Colorado, in the beaches of Hawaii, or in the beaches of the Caribbean, or in the middle of Europe, like myself, that is your mission field. That's where always your mission field is going to be, is where God has placed you at that moment in time. And I think that is so important for all of us to remember. And I hope you do remember that. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And so I wanted to finish there, and I just appreciate so much for you guys listening. I hope it's been an encouragement to you. Before you turn it off, I do have one announcement. That is, like last week when I said I was doing a video of my workday from last week. Yeah, I've been working on it, but then all these other videos kind of come in the way that are kind of like scheduled. So like all of these other videos are scheduled. So I kind of have to work around that, and plus work schedule. So if you were listening to this and it's already come out, great, which is the goal. It was supposed to come out, if you're listening to this on Thursday when this comes out, it was supposed to come out on Wednesday. So yesterday. If it comes out, awesome. If not, it will be out shortly. Maybe we'll see. Yeah. So that should either be out or should be on its way out shortly. Anyways, thank you again so much for listening. If you listen on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and favorite it. That way, I can see that you are loving listening to it and you're enjoying it. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember, go ahead and click that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell, because that will allow you to stay in tune with everything that is going on, whether that's just a fun video, whether that's a podcast episode, a recap, whatever it might be. You'll be able to see that every time it comes out. So why don't you go ahead and do that? And then once again, I just want to remind you that God is faithful and you can trust him. And as always, we'll talk next time.